Yes, Mickey, with less than a 16th to go. What the Hill, a short lead. Lindy the Great to the inside. Yes, Mickey, coming to the wire. It's What the Hill and David Miller winning the
pocket setter. Turn first over attacker What the Hill. In behind them, Dover Dan from in third. International Money still got work to do. They're in deep stretch, and here comes What the Hill and Miller on the outside. What the Hill converting off the pocket trip to win the Canadian Trotting Classic. He won it by 3 going away. It's What the Hill.
Third, 3/4, 124 and 2 into the stretch. Looks like a Chippendale appears to be on the verge. Crazy Wild trying to fend him off. Room at the rail for What the Hill. He's raging late. And in heavy traffic is Pinkman on the far outside. Dason trying to close in. But off the rail comes What the Hill, the 3-year-old. What the Hill to seal his division. What the Hill. Then Dason. And then it was Pinkman third and Mambo Lindy fourth. What the Hill in one.
Unbelievable. How's that now, Jeffrey Dixon? Sorry about that. And there's a 40-second delay. Well, rookie mistake there. I don't know why the volume was on mute. But anyway, thank you very much. And rightio, we'll go back to the start. It doesn't matter. We'll leave this one on because this is the What the Hill Talking Trotters show. So I do apologise for that. Brent Thompson thought it was his phone. I do apologise, guys. I don't know how Jeffrey Dixon knew it was on mute, but he did, so thank you. Huge week in Trotters. We're going to talk all the Trotters last week. Of course, we're going to highlight the Haras Trotters Nutrien Equine Classic for the 3-year-old trotting colts and geldings, fillies, and also the 2-year-old colts and geldings and the fillies as well. Of course, the richest trot race for any age group, individual age group going around. $125,000 in stakes for the colts and geldings and the fillies of the 3-year-old version. So huge stake money to be had here at Bendigo on August the 11th next week. So yeah, Jeffrey Dixon, you're in a marvel, mate. I really appreciate it. Wouldn't have been much of a show without any audio. What the Hill's had a huge week. Hambletonian week. Tactical Approach was one of the horses that I wanted to highlight there before. Plus, anyone on there wants to highlight their trotters, what their trotters have been able to achieve going forward. Really would like to encourage people to get involved with the show and yeah, highlight it. That's what it's about. As I said, you wouldn't have heard just before, but I actually have got Neville Pangrazio in an interview with Neville. It's not actually about Neville, it's about the Pangrazio family and a few of the other people going forward. So yep, big show. We'll try and get Louise Toulmin from Haras Trotters. We'll go this way. hopefully on the phone. I did tell her 1:15, but I think we'll go a little bit earlier. Peter Ramirio, there's a lot of tech savvy, a lot of us out there that are very, very tech savvy, and we've got a few people in confusion. I do have a few issues from time to time with this. Must get that up and going. Hello, Louise.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Very, very well. Welcome back to Campbell's Comments. Welcome back to Talking Trotters and the very professional effort that I have. I don't know if you started watching the start of the show, but I may not have had the audio turned on. So it was going to be a very quiet show if I hadn't have fixed that part up. So welcome back.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
I do apologise for that. What a huge week. I started saying off there before that it's who is that? Brian Davey just returned from Sweden. Well done to you, Brian. We might catch up with you in a little bit. Plenty of comments, so fire them through. But this is the richest age group trot races in Australia for individual ages. That's how it works, isn't it? I've got to get the wording on it right because people will turn around and say that the Great Southern Star or the Great Square, but they are for 3 and 4 year olds or all aged horses. But for individual horses, these are the two richest races for the Square Gator this year.
Yep, that's right. So individual sex category, so we've got, there's $375,000 up for grabs this Friday night, which is pretty amazing. I know people, have sort of had some negative comments Victoria and the announcements coming out of HRV, but I think this is something we need to celebrate and sort of really focus on the fact that, $375,000 up for grabs, 4 races this Friday night. Yeah, $125,000 fillies, heat and final, and the $125,000. So if you add in, the actual heats as well, we're in excess of $400,000 in prize money.
Yep, absolutely, and that prize money's up there on screen, and it's as I said, it's the Haras Trotters Nutrien Equine Classic, and then it just depends on which sex or class you're going after that. 3-year-old trotting colts and geldings, fillies, and so forth, with 4 finals on this weekend, because we had the 2-year-olds last year. There was only the one 2-year-old trot last year, wasn't there, at Menangle, taken out by the locomotive. So this is his second running. So yep, and he'll be back to defend his crown. So which will be which is good to see. He is back here, and of course he is actually bred by Haras Trotters. Just quickly, Louise, one of the questions I did ask you, I've got another audio issue. I'm very frustrated with what happens here sometimes. Sorry, how many horses do Haras Trotters actually have in the series?
So they have 2 actual owned by Pat now that are going to be running on Friday night, but they had over 50% of the horses running this Friday night were actually bred by Yabby Jam Farms. And just under 50% of all those runners are actually sired by a Haras Trotters stallion. So I suppose what that actually indicates, with the fact that Pat only now owns 2 of those, Pat is offering these horses up at the sales, which is giving, a wide variety of people, at different price brackets, the ability to sort of, move those horses to different people, different areas, and especially the fillies. It's just going to be extending people's broodmare bands. So I think he's extremely proud of that, we're extremely proud at Haras Trotters that we've just got under 50% of those horses that'll be running on Friday night are actually sired by our boys. Absolutely. I was going to go to the field for this week, Louise, but we might just quickly touch off on the heats that were run at Kilmore last Thursday night. It was. The only problem is I actually had a crash. So the reason everything isn't quite right is
the old technology and me. I had a crash the other day. What we might start at the end with Valentino, because this horse is by Love You out Aspiring Eva. Well, you won't get a much slower race, I don't think.
The quickest, Valentino, Aldebaran Marcus peels
a lovely
off the
little
cover.
win for
It went a
for
little
nice
roughly,
colt
so
come down for Blake
Valentino got
Fitzpatrick
away.
and,
Aldebaran
a
Marcus
couple of
is in
well-known
second,
owners
getting
there,
up along the
in the
inside.
ownership.
Valthoran's fighting for that
Yeah,
spot.
look, I think
but Valentino's going to
Love
lead
You,
all the way.
we all know,
Valentino
his
has
deeds,
beaten
he's done it,
Valthorans, and
he's doing
third
it
was Aldebaran.
worldwide. He's a sire of sires, and he's still doing a fabulous job with, Queen Alida and, Ultimate Stride and a number of
The
Heroic
quickest,
Hoey.
Valentino,
He's just
Aldebaran
got,
Marcus peels off the cover.
phenomenal,
It went a little roughly, so
open-class
Valentino
horses
got
and
away.
top-grade horses running
Aldebaran
around in
Marcus
Australia
is
and
in
New
second,
Zealand
getting
at
up along the
moment, sort
inside.
of thing.
Valthorans
So,
fighting for that
Blake's
spot,
been a
but
very
Valentino's
Blake
going to
and
lead
Lisa
all the
have
way.
been,
Valentino
great
has
supporters
beaten
of,
Valthorans,
the
and
Trotting
third was
Gate over a
Aldebaran.
number of, probably for, it's infancy really from them training sort of thing. So, yeah, great supporters of the Trotting Gate. And, it's nice to see them come down and, potentially have, definitely one of the favourites.
Yep, and we'll go on to his field. I wonder if I can do this. Let's see how we go, because that's a 2-year-old trotting colts and gelding. So we just had a replay of his race. And I'll just, technology can be a dangerous thing from time to time. We've actually got one extra one, right, Louise? Let's see if this works. Oh, I knew it wouldn't work. It does that to me quite regularly. This is very frustrating because, unfortunately, because of the crash. But anyway, Valentino Valthorans, who Pat's horse that ran second, Aldebaran Marcos ran third, and Billy Zipping for Brian Gaffer all in the field. Plus there's a new addition to this field. With only the one heat being run, these horses are eligible to nominate afterwards, and that is an interestingly named and very, very well bred horse in Ewing, Louise, horse that you might be able to shed a little bit more light on, because the breeders, of course, were Chris and Hayley Lang. It's a father, Patrick, out of She's an Image.
Yeah, so I think he made 100,000 when he was went through the sales ring. Yeah, he's in the Andy Gaff, Kate Gaff stable. I think he's had a couple of trials. I think he may have won a trial last week. Was purchased by Alabar Farm, with the potential that, depending what he does on the racetrack, could be a sire in the future. So, it'd be interesting to see him out there having his first start in a $62,000 race.
I don't know why this doesn't work, Louise. It will be very interesting, and it's great that Connections were able to get him in, but for some reason it will not show the page that I want it to show. But that's what happens with technology. It does drive me nuts anyway. But yeah, no, it's very exciting, and well done to Connections for, well, I suppose congratulations on getting into the field as well. And as you said, $62,500 is a great starting point. I'm going to go to the 2-year-old fillies, which must have been the other race. It was too. They're the last two heats the other night. Now, you've got to behave and be professional here, Louise. Of course, this was the Haras Trotters Nutrien Equine Classic 2-year-old trotting fillies, taken out by Mari's Mac.
The priestess
David Aiken,
around the home turn with a good lead. She's
John
6-7 metres in front. Mary's Mac, no telling Heather. Leggy Peggy was next, but into the lane. The priestess, given a bit more rain, got away. She's out by 8 metres. In second, Mary's Mac is knuckling down to the task. How much in the lock here with the priestess? He has to go to work. Mary's Mac looming up. She broke the priestess. It's a little mini boil over. Mary's Mac is going to go home and win. Mary's Mac is beating no telling Heather, and she got very rough at the end. The priestess, not sure if she helped third from Third Eye, who flew late. Further back in the field then to Leggy Peggy and Love and Hope, the last one in. Last quarter was 28.4, and the mile rate was 210.1. Mary's Mac was knuckling down to the task, and then the priestess got a flick up, was getting a bit wobbly in its stride, and with about 50 to go, she broke, and Mary's Max swept on by. No telling Heather kept on grinding on into second. And third is a photo with the priestess galloping over the line anyway.
Admit, we toyed with the idea of do we keep her, and then we put her in the sales, and we just thought if she makes a decent little bit of money, and she made the 27.5. I think the reserve was 25. So I think there's a couple of trainers or a trainer up in New South Wales were hoping that we actually sort of would have said, keep her. Because, Alex and Alana did really like her. But, look, she come home. She was broken in by Hayley and Chris, did some preps with them, and then has been with David. And, she's a little professional. So, the time wasn't overly fast the other night, but she scored a win, which she can't do any more than win, and she's in with a chance just like the other 5 runners. So I'm sure that all the other people who've got one in it, the breeders and the owners are as excited as what I am.
No, absolutely. And it was interesting times, those last 2 races. She went 2:10.1, which people might say, well, that's slow, because actually Ellen McDonough got away with murder in front with the Priestess. But then Valentino, the Love You, who comes out in the next one, it goes 2:12. It was incredible to see such slow times. And I took the photos after the races, and Greg said, I don't think I've ever gone that slow. He said, I don't think I've gone that slow in a trial. So, but you only have to do what you can, and that's all you do. No telling Heather, of course, bred by Haras Trotters. I saw Heather Holloway there the other night. I don't know if the horse was named after her for, we didn't want to tell her, but she's so proud of this little horse. What a professional little horse it is, a Sebastian K. I thought it was Haras Trotters. It's actually an Alabar bred horse, but it's a super professional little horse. Then we had the Priestess, Third Eye, Leggy Peggy, and Loving Hope were all terrific. But I love seeing that joy that people who never wanted to trotter, Colin Holloway and the family, the enjoyment they get out of it. It's just brilliant to watch.
Yeah, well, I actually was speaking to Brett Holloway the other day, or actually on Saturday. Yeah, so they're really excited with the opportunity. But I think if she salutes on Friday night, I'm sure Heather will be happy. But I'm not really sure. From all accounts, I don't know how popular Colin was when he came home from the yearling sales, purchasing a horse. So I think she's aptly named for his reception he received. The thing, when he came home and said that he actually bought a horse. I think he had his granddaughter with him. And she sort of, I think encouraged Colin. So, if she salutes, I think he'll be able to, make sure that his granddaughter gets a little bit of a kicker.
He does. It was actually quite enjoyable to see that. We'll go to the first of the heats that were run the other night. These were the $10,000 Haras Trotters Nutrien Equine Classic heats. These were 2 heats for the 3-year-old trotting fillies. These weren't walking a fest, that's for sure. These were good little races. Trady Lady took out the first by Trixton out of Glenferrie Yanixa, Emma Stewart and Mark Pitt. Rapid Return was terrific, and Kianguchi was very, very good. But just a very polished horse, this horse, Trady Lady, Louise.
Yeah, look, and won't she be a lovely little filly to breed with, or mare, when she does finish racing, sort of thing, Trixton is being extremely well bred maternally. So I think, whatever whatever these 3-year-old fillies doing, this part of the season, I think, next year, potentially we could see, some of these maybe even contesting the Great Square.
Yep.
That's exciting to see, and it's exciting to see, a nice field of fillies going around in this final on Friday night.
Chaotic Flair there for Jodie Quinlan, well named, because it got into there was a bit of a scrimmage on the home turn, and it was very well named because it got itself into a lot of trouble. The next race we're going to highlight was the second of the 3-year-old trotting fillies, and it was so good to see a good solid field of 3-year-old fillies. This was a lovely run. Sorry, I've hit the wrong button. I'm trying to get the replay up on the wrong one. By She's Ruby Roo for Greg Sugars and Jess Tubbs.
So it's Vici Blue,
really well,
and She's Ruby Roo fighting it out. She's Ruby Roo the outside, got ahead in front. Vici Blue the inside's trying to rally back, but it's going to be a close go. Very close. She's Ruby Roo, maybe
horse in that race, and was hoping, for connections there, she could hang on, because she's been placed a number of times over her last few starts. sort of thing, and I thought that she might have been able to hang on, but no, it was a really good run by that filly after a little mishap at the start, sort of thing. So it all points for, you know, a really good race, you know, and it's a full field, which will should you know, some people might get a bit of luck in running, and you know, who knows. I think it's like anything, you've got to be in it to win it.
Yeah, Mick Watt, I think from memory with Vicky Bloom, I'm going to get Mark Barton on later on, but he went to both sales, I think, that year. I remember he went down, he may have took that horse, I reckon he did. That filly was in the inaugural Nutrien Equine Classic, and I saw him the other night. I know he got beat and he sort of wanted to win, but he was a pretty proud man after the fact as well, which is what these trotters are about. I mean, we had Emma Stewart and Mark Pitt just there before, Greg and Jess Tubbs. But they can come from anywhere, and there's actually a reason for me actually saying that, because of the next horse we are going to highlight in a second. But it's the joy of the trotters and the amount of fun that you can have with them, isn't it?
Oh, look, and I think people don't understand, you know, like what they've got, you know, the potential they've got to run for. Juvenile trotters. If you sort of add in, you know, whether you're in Victoria or New South Wales, you know, in New South Wales, you know, you've got New South Wales Trot, you've got Vicbred, you know, Vicbred Platinum, you know, there's a lot, you know, and, you know, coming up, let's be honest, you know, it's not that long away once we get through the Vicbred series, and then we've got, you know, the Redwood and the Derby sort of thing. So, you know, it's going to be a bit of a feast, isn't it, over the next couple of months, you know, then leading even into the Breeders' Crown of, you know, seeing really good quality trotters go round. And they do, you know, they're still quite young, these 2-year-olds, you know what I mean? So they will, you know, improve. So something that's probably mightn't even be the best coming up in this series, you know, potentially could be come November.
Yep, absolutely, and there is so much more to look forward to, and then we're back onto racing. Louise, before we go too far though, I did just want to touch off that you're sort of teasing about potentially a little bit of an announcement later in the week as well.
Yeah, look, we're, you know, Haras Trotters, we've sort of probably been like a little bit quiet in the media front, and that's just due to the fact that, we've, you know, purchased a couple of horses in the last month, you know, 2 weeks, like the last month and 2 weeks, and we will announce our stallion roster on Thursday, and we're, you know, look, really, really excited about, our new stallion that Pat has purchased that's going to come to Standard Stud, and then, of course, the other one that he has purchased to hopefully he'll race. He had his last start about 3 weeks ago in Europe, but he's, you know, been purchased with the main aim that he will race over the next, you know, 12 months, and then potentially go to stud and potentially shuttle back the other way. So that's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. Mark Barton said I had no sound. I don't know what happened then. Got a few gremlins in the system tonight, Louise, which does happen. So that is exciting, and that's a Thursday. Those announcements will be made. So just a little teaser out there for people to keep an eye out and keep a little bit of an ear out. Right, the Blue Bloods are always the 3-year-old boys, and I don't know if I teased out or not, but I will be. I catch up with Neville Pangrazio. Nev's actually the spokesperson. He possibly didn't even really want to do this, but what a little story this horse is. Prince of Rock taking out the Haras Trotters Nutrien Equine Classic for the 3-year-old colts and geldings, and beat a terrific field and just did a really, really good job, didn't he?
Oh, look, he was really solid in running, wasn't he, sort of thing. And, you know, there was probably quite a lot of people that thought he may have been overrun. You know what I mean, in the last 50 metres or something. But, yeah, he really hung tough and, you know, really did his connections, both his owners and his breeders, proud. Yeah,
and he is. And you can see here on the video, he looks like both Basilica and Stevie G are both going to get past him. And then I know there's not much to Tina, but what there was, she threw everything at him, and he was able to get up on the line. And he's just a good little story. He does it tough, gets out of the gate good, and if he can get a barrier draw on Friday night, he's going to be in it with a real good chance. Basilica and Stevie G were both good. Basilica looked like he just pulled a little bit too hard, but Stevie G was good. The Locomotive, to me, in the parade, looked like he was going to benefit from the run. My Personal Jet was terrific. Kiang Stuka did a heap of work. Midnight Muscle wasn't too far away out of just missing the start that little bit. And Designer Vici for Jess and Greg Tubbs just got tired, so I think there's a few little issues there with him. But it is going to be a cracking final this week.
Yeah, and it's like anything, isn't it, with racing sort of thing, there's probably a couple that might be, the shorter odds sort of thing in the betting, but, there's a good, half a dozen horses that, even talking about it, depending on where the draws are and different things like that, I think the draws will be pretty crucial in, how that race is going to be run.
We've got a great trotting man from Queensland on. Jack Butler has actually tuned in to watch, so he'd be a bit envious of the prize money that's on offer this week at Bendigo. So, of course, he'll be here. Cambrai Mitchell Frost as well. And Peter Doyle says me sounds good, so hopefully it wasn't my issue. It might have been an issue with Mark Barton. Yep, we're right. Okay, so noms are out, so the final fields are out, Louise. There's not a lot of alterations to the fields going forward with these. We've got the 3-year-old trotting colts and geldings up, and we've got the Locomotive, the Prince of Rock, Basilica, Stevie G, I'm a Personal Jet, Kiang Stuka, Midnight Muscle, and Designer Vici. So that entire field that went around the other night, they're going to take part this week. Of course, with noms being extended for that race. Which is terrific, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is. It's. Have they extended them through till 8 o'clock in the morning, or are they actually closed now?
7:30.
7:30. Yep. Yeah. So, I think there's only, as in horses coming in, when I've sort of printed off and had a look earlier today, I thought there was only like a couple, one colt, 2-year-old colt and a 2-year-old filly that may have come into the field. I think everything else went around. I'm pretty sure there may be one other one I may have missed, but I thought everything else had gone around.
So there was a full field with the 3-year-old fillies. So as I see this, I'm not sure who the emergency is. I'm not going to get anyone into trouble, but you've got Trady Lady and She's Ruby Roo, and I'll say Kianguchi. They're 3 horses that are out of the draw. So Kianguchi's going to draw the worst, and then you've got Trady Lady and She's Ruby Roo are both out of the draw. Azira, Siesta Everesta, Dutch Teacher, Vicky Bloom, Rapid Return, Whoosh, Belnige, Chaotic Flare, and Equal and Opposite are all going to partake into the field. So that's a full field. That's going to be exciting to watch these 3-year-old fillies take on for the $125,000 prize money.
Yeah, they will be, and I think, the draw, like you say, Trade Lady and She Ruby Roo, are going to be off the back line, aren't they, sort of thing. So it'll be, be very interesting to see, with the draw, what happens.
No, well, indeed. And then we got the 2-year-old trotting colts. Now, is that the race with Ewing? Is it the one? Yep, so there we can have.
Yep.
Then we've got Ewing in there. So we said there before about Ewing, and of course, he's a first starter by Father Patrick out of She's an Image, and She's an Image has done a huge job in the breeding barn. How much did that colt sell for at the yearling sales, Louise? For your under the bus?
Ewing.
Yep.
I think he sold for 100. If it wasn't it was definitely 100. He was in 6 figures. So it's always nice to see when a horse is sold for decent money being out there. So, it's a little bit like even our 3-year-old colt, isn't it? The Locomotive.
Yep.
Basilica was $170,000 purchase, but even going through that, there's plenty of horses there. Even we were just going through the Abidam draft. There was horses that were purchased for $8,000. You know what I mean, at the sales, and they've got the same. They're running for that same $125,000. So you don't actually have to go out there and spend huge money to be able to partake in these races. So, I suppose take away the race meeting and put on the sort of advertising thing for Nutrien, there's definitely, people should be looking at the trotter, being able to run for this sort of money in, 2.5, 3 years' time.
Yep. And that's the most exciting part about it. And I've got the 2-year-old trotting fillies up there with Haras to Trotters. The Nutrien Equine Classic for the 2-year-old trotting fillies, $62,500. Mari's Mac on top of the noms. Third Eye, the Priestless, No Telling Heather, and Leggy Peggy. And then there is the additional horse in this race with Muscle Memory, Abby Turnbull, trained by Craig. This is a muscle mass out of I Can't Remember for Dean and Blanche Poole having its first start. So this horse has been able to get into the field. So there's two horses that I suppose weren't nominated, Louise, that are going to be making the fields on Friday night, the 11th of August.
Yep, no, that's it. And, we're highly excited, proud to be associated, can't wait for the races. And, like I say, Haras Trotters, Pat's mission is to sort of be able to bring the best bloodlines and genetics available, to Southern breeders, so then we can sort of compete on the world stage, which, Just Believe sort of showed. He might not have won, but, he well and truly held, he was a credit to himself and his trainers, and we've got Aldebaran Zeus, over there in America now. So, let's hope that, we're breeding, our breeding ranks get better and better, and Haras Trotters will be, that's our mission to, be able to bring those best bloodlines possible for us to breed world-class trotters.
And there is something about them. I know it was a 16-race card the other day at the Meadowlands, but most people were there for one race, and that was a Hambletonian, and it was a cracking race, so it was super exciting. So that's the joy of the Trotters, Louise. Yeah, no, it is. It's a sort of gate that I personally probably didn't have as much to do with, in our early days as breeders, but I now have 5 trotting mares in foal, and very excited, for the ones that are coming, so so what do people say? You go to we've crossed to the dark side, some people might say. You don't listen to them at all. So we've actually got 2. I got one of both my hats. I got a Classic Connection coming and a What the Hell coming. So got a little bit of both coming here. So it's not the dark side, it's the best side. So well, it's probably more just the eyes closed at the start of a trot race sometimes, or depending on the trotter you got, your eyes closed when it's going up the home straight. But it's a pleasure to watch trotting races these days because the horses are just so much better gated, I think, and they seem to trot so well. Perfect example of that was the Great Square. Now it was a pacing bred horse that won the Great Square, but it was definitely a good race to watch, a spectacle. The speed that these horses are running at now, you wouldn't have ever thought that 10 years ago. So it must be the fact that we're being able to access so much better stallions these days as well. To get that, so much better bred mares are available for people to breed with. Yeah, absolutely. And it was interesting. I had a message from a person the other day sending me a message about the worry. He was worried about the fact that people, I suppose, are getting these fast trotters out of breed, with the pacing bloodlines, and that there's no exact science to it. I mean, Pat done it with Third Eye. She's out of a Better's Delight mare by Volstead, and she's got brilliant speed. But I think that's the joy of the trotter. There is no exact science to what can happen. You can go, like you said then, you can spend I think it was 160,000 for Basilica, 20,000 for Prince of Rock, but you can also spend $3,000 and $4,000 and get a very high quality horse. One of our better mares was a horse called Lucinda Mack, who was was by Danny Boucher. So it doesn't matter where you go and how you go about it, you can still have a lot of fun with the trotters. Oh, definitely. And I suppose if you breed a pacer and it doesn't want to pace, one day it'd probably be a really good interview to have on Talking Trotters. Bring James Rattray on because that horse was tried as a pacer. You know what I mean? And he was frustrated, and I think he had a chat with Ricky Elchin, and Ricky said, "Just let him trot." You know what I mean? Sort of thing. So, it's, it's exciting to see what the trotters can do, it'll be super exciting to see, what the end result is come Friday. No, they are, as you said, super exciting. They're a lot of fun to watch, and as I said to this gentleman, like they say about it, True Roman, a horse that I had such a great fondness for years ago, he was out of a half-sister to Christian Cullen. So, there is plenty of them out there, and there's all these oddities, but they are so much fun. David Aiken, a trainer high on your good books at the minute, Louise. He actually said to me, I said, what makes a pacing bred horse trot so well? And he said it's because they want to, and that's the joy of watching. I think all these young trotters are going to be going around on Friday night. They want to do it. That's the joy of, it's a free gate, if you like. Some might wear half hobbles, but at the end of the day, it's just this free gate where horses just get out there and stride, and they just want to do it, and it's so exhilarating to watch.
Yeah, well, I know that it's quite funny here because, we, like I say, Gary and I personally didn't breed many trotters in our day, but, we did have some of Hayley's and Chris's here before they purchased their property. But, it was always, you have a trotter board and then it gets up and starts pacing around the paddock. It was sort of like, oh, my God, I'm sorry, it's paced, and and Chris always said that like Sundon's Gift would pace up to the mobile sort of thing. Yep. So it's quite funny, isn't it, that potentially and we do have trotting bred paces, so it can work both ways sort of thing. So it's the joys, and that's what it probably all makes it all a little bit exciting and different, because we don't know what we're going to have sort of thing. So
one of the greatest we had, he beat the paces trotting and he beat the paces pacing as well, Murray's Idol. So he was quite a unique horse. So the good trotters don't trot. I see them as running, and I think he's right, David Short. Like he just says, now they just are running. They're not trotting like they used to. It's not this heavy old square gait. It is just a flowing motion, and I think that's what Dave's getting on about. He's in New South Wales. We've got to get more trotters in New South Wales. We'll get on to that another day, Louise. But thank you. Look forward to seeing you Friday night. You'll be there.
No, thank you, and like I say, Harada Trotters and Pat is extremely proud to be, the main sponsor of the Nutrient Trotting Series. And, we look forward to Friday night. And I look forward to catching up with you on Thursday, Paul, for us to, announce our new stallion and our extensive stallion list, because we do have a new frozen stallions too that are going to be priced well to and diversify the bloodlines that we're bringing in. So look forward to letting everybody know that on Thursday.
Good as gold. Thank you very much, Louise.
Thank you.
I'll see you Thursday, and I will be in touch, and I'll let you go if you like, Louise. I don't know if I can hang up on you or you have to hang up. I can hang up on you. So thank you very much, Louise.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Now we have Louise Toulmin, and I do apologise for a couple of the little issues I did have. For some reason I crashed just as I went to start, and the computer screen was annoying me. Then I didn't realise I had no audio. Hopefully the audio's been okay ever since, but just a few gremlins in the system. I've got a few people texting me, which you would have heard coming through the things. We will get to those in a minute. What I'd like to do, I'm going to get Mark Barton on the phone very, very shortly. Of course, this is Talking Trotters for What the Hill. Blanche Poole, good luck to you, Blanche, on Friday night. Hopefully we will see you there. But I'm actually going to throw to Neville Pangrazio, touch us off on just a little bit more of the backstory, if you like, with Prince of Rock. This goes for about 5 minutes, and I'll be back with Mark Barton. Then we'll talk everything else for the week in trotting, including the Hambletonian, a few other little stats that we've got to highlight, plus a couple of the videos. But I'll throw up to this video now of Nev Pangrazio, and we'll be back shortly. Talking Trotters, catching up with Neville Pangrazio. Firstly, hello, Nev.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
Good, mate. We catch up quite a little bit. This is a really, really good story that I want to highlight and make sure people are aware. And we're talking about the win of Prince of Rock the other night in the Haras Trotters 3-year-old Colts and Geldings division at Kilmore for the Nutrien Race Series. Sorry. Yep. Firstly, what a win.
Yeah, it went really good. We were impressed with his first two runs, actually. He was just bowling along and stretched out really nice. And I thought this race will be a good challenge for him, but Tina just took him to the front and let him run again. And, backed off the third quarter a little bit and then let him run home, and he was, again, too strong. So very impressive.
Daryl Crone, the trainer, Tina Rittis, great combination. Unknowns, if you like, in one of this is the first running of the 3-year-olds, but most people tend to say the 3-year-old divisions are always the strongest ones, the Bluebirds. More horses are up and ready to go, and he's going to acquit himself very, very well in the final on Friday night.
I think there's 3 or 4 where with kind of equal ability, so he's right in it if they all trot. So there's a few different races around. You can be in the APG or the Nutrient, or there's others, so they're all spread out this year. So he was just lucky to be in that group this year.
Yep, absolutely. There's some good horses in it. 5-time Group 1 winner in the Locomotive was behind him and couldn't get over him. Harness racing is a family story. It's a story, I suppose, of, I think anyway, I think it's the best way to sell it, and the Trotters are such a great thing. Your wife, Louise, I did ask her if he'd come on and just have a little chat. The reason you're here is because you'll be able to hold it together. But it is a family sport, and with the unfortunate passing of Louise's mum early in the year, what this horse is doing means a lot more to the whole family, including Malcolm as well.
Oh, absolutely. She'd be tickled pink, I'm sure. Hopefully she's up there watching. They haven't had... they've had good horses over the time, but I think it's stepped up a bit, lately with She's a Wish and now this horse. And, Louise is a bit hard getting in front of a camera at the best of times, but even more so now. So, you wouldn't have any chance of getting her on, I don't think, mate. Talk about it.
No, but she's so proud of what this horse is doing as well. I know that through text messages and just the excitement level. And even if some bloke actually forgets to highlight a horse winning on a certain night.
Absolutely. She picked that up real quick. So I told her early on that she married well, and now she tells me that the only horses winning are the ones that she bred. So you got She's a Wish and Prince of Rock, and we bred quite a few that year. And I've got Ivana by the Seaside going well for pity. But most of them have been sort of unraced, and the only real good ones are those two. So she tells me that, up front. So, no, they're going all right.
But Dad, Malcolm, long name in harness racing, especially in the trotting game. He'd be pretty tickled pink about it too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. He loves every race. So we're just taking every race that comes, and don't count your chickens before they hatch. It's still got to get over the line, and it's a big race, and it's a $120,000 race, I think. So it's a good one to just sit back and watch and enjoy.
It's biggest single sex trotting race prize money for the year. So people will turn around and say, the Great Southern Star and the Great Square, single sex. So just the fact that these are for 3-year-old colts and geldings, and then there's a fillies division, it's an awesome money. Yeah,
all the money is for pay up money, isn't it? So if you've got to nominate for particular races, this is obviously a sale race. If you've got a good one going, you've got to go for these good races, don't you?
Absolutely, but it's not always about the money, and that's the one thing I want people to be aware of, the little backstory to this horse. And I don't think Daryl and Tina would mind me saying, two battlers, taking on some big boys, if you like, being able to purchase him at the sales. How much was he sold for at the sales?
I think he was 20 or 22, something like that. He was a beautiful looking animal, and Wishing Stone didn't have a lot of horses on the ground, I don't think, at the time, and we really liked the stallion, and they're really hitting form. There's quite a few of them going. You can't get him anymore now because he's frozen semen, and that you can't use it. I actually rang up the other day to Greg Ryan to see if we could get some more. He said no, it's gone. So we've got one mare in foal to him, yet to foal down this year. So hoping for a filly.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. The Nutrien Classic, 3-year-old trotting classic, sponsored by Haras Trotters, is on Friday. I don't know what time just yet, but keep an eye out at Bendigo on the 11th. So make sure you're there. Anyone that's sold or been a part of the Nutrien experience, make sure you get along to Bendigo. There's big things happening planned. There's going to be a lot of catering and a bit of fun as well, the way Nutrien do their things. You guys will be making the trip up the road?
Yeah, I think we will.
Yeah, I hope so. Might be able to see how I go. If I can't get the camera in front of her, I might be able to get a photo of her, hopefully in the winner's circle after the race. But I think it's a great story, and I think more people need to be aware of it. As I said, they've been breeding for a long time, and I know Louise would desperately love to be sharing this with her mum. Unfortunately, that's not to be, but she still gets to share that with her father, and hopefully some more people will realise what a good story this is.
Yeah, absolutely. And to the other flip side again is you don't need to spend a lot of money to get a good horse.
No, absolutely. And the Trotters are the future, aren't they?
They're the future, mate. You know that.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
No, very good. I've been watching, so I'm pretty well up to date.
Well, we're back live, so I hope you'll watch. That is the dulcet tones of Mark Barton joining me on the phone. Bardo, firstly, welcome back.
Good on you, mate. No, thank you.
I did have a few teething issues, and when you sent me through the audio one again, I was like, I hope everything is under control. But we just crashed just prior to going live, and for some reason, a few little gremlins in the system there, but they should hopefully be all sorted out now. I got to say, I got to give you.
Sorry, I wonder if it's me.
Well, in fairness, you did ring with 1 minute to go, so that can actually do it. So there's no hassles there. The daughter's boyfriend's actually watching, and I get to see him live on the feeds. So I get to see who's actually watching. So I just thought I'd better, just so as he thinks he's keeping an eye on me, I'm just keeping a little eye on him as well, Bardo. So don't worry about that young jet bird. Just with that video, you can have a little bit of fun with the daughter behind. This is, of course, Talking Trotters. This is not on Loose Lines. This is where we're talking the Trotters, and it is proudly brought to you by the guys from Woodlands and What the Hill. And, of course, What the Hill's had a huge week this week with both divisional winners of the $75,000 Governor's Cup for Scotia Downs with Jet Hill, interestingly enough, Jet Bird, Jet Hill, and John Dutton taking up both of those heats. Roxana winning the $55,000 Ohio Fairs Trot for 2-year-old fillies. He's 9th on the all-age trotters in America, but his oldest are only 4. 7th in the 3-year-olds, 5th in the 2-year-olds. It's the leading New Zealand sire for the 3-year-olds. In there and cannot be beaten on that one for the rest of the year. And Kianguchi is also in the Haras Trotters Nutrien Equine Classic, running 3rd. Always got to make sure I get there. He's actually been cheeky, that little bugger. I'll have to get into him later on. Look after the sponsors and make sure I give them promotion. But and effectively, again, Haras Trotters and Nutrien. Barno, I've got to give you guys a big shout out because it's a big week. This is the culmination of pretty exciting sales series, and all roads have been heading to this, the $125,000 3-year-old colts and geldings and fillies heats.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think that's it. The real key part is the $125,000. You've got for 2 years we've been selling horses, talking about the largest prize pool, I think, for trotters in Australasia. So I think it's great to see the culmination of that now, where these group of colts, geldings, and fillies are chasing some fantastic money. And Haras the Trotters and Pat and his team have been fantastic support right from the start.
No, they have indeed, pardon me. Definitely have, and it is super exciting. And it's super exciting to see some of these, I suppose, blue bloods come through through it, if you like. We say there before about Basilica. He was 160,000, I think. You also had the Locomotive was nearly 100, I believe. So, people have paid a lot of money for some of these horses. So that in itself is great to see. But then you also have these cheaper horses that people have been able to get, like I say, Prince of Rock, who came out and won the overnight, and Neville alluded to just there that he believes he was a $20,000 purchase, maybe 25. He couldn't quite remember.
Yeah, look, I'd have to try and dig into the system to find it quickly, but I think Basilica was obviously our first high sell colt. The Locomotive was our first high-profile, trotting colt or trotter that we had in our system. So that was great to see. And then I think it's great to see that on any day. But I said this last week with you, Paul. It's great to see world-renowned or international genetics that are available in Australia for the trotter. But then they're given the opportunity. We've got some great horsemen and women, and that actually give these horses a chance. Give them a chance to actually reach their genetic potential.
Yep, absolutely, and race for serious money. You must be pretty proud of that. It's a cool, I suppose, thing to hang your hat on, if you like. The richest individual sex for a class. You've only been in the industry for a short period of time, and to already have that sort of influence, you must be pretty proud as a whole, the whole team behind driving Nutrien Equine.
Oh, and look, mate, I think when you talk about team, look, there's no secret. You look at the people that got behind us at the start, and Haras the Trotters and Pat particularly, not just from the financial support, but just understanding industry and what we're trying to achieve as breeders of horse flesh. I think that's been you can't put a value on that support, and I think that's great to see their brand associated with ours. And I think that's one of the things as a business we want to do is, if you align yourself, or if you hang around good people or good businesses, you tend to feed off those. And I think that's what's been positive for us and all of our sponsors and the people we've worked with over this last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Craig Judd on there. We had Blanche Poole commenting on there before. Woodlands Stud, of course, bring this to you. And Hughes is a big YouTube watcher. So there's a few comments on YouTube as well. But Alabar, of course, great supporters, great sponsors as well. And more noted as with the paces. But I mean, Alabar's got a huge hand in this week for the Trotters, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think it's also it's part of the fun is actually having a horse make a final, or being part of the program for the night. And I think that's great to see those brands. And I think it's also great to see, like you say, we've got the Pangrazios have supported us since we started. Yep. They've had, their 10-No Trump that obviously had a lot of their homebred mares and done really well. And look, I get a kick out of that. I know what it's like to breed a horse yourself and see them come through the grades and actually do okay. So I get the emotional connection, even if you do sell a horse on. Yep. And you want to see the horse run well. But to see the high-class genetics, they will continue to rise to the top. And I guess, look, the stallions are absolutely important, but I reckon a lot of it is the dam, isn't it? It's all about the man.
Yeah, it is, and this is the beauty of it. And we're getting so many great farms, as I said. Like a lot of the people watching, Paddy Lees just came in there, like the Cravens and Lees, of course, supported the sale. And we said there before about Kianguchi making the final, but also, they've been great buyers. But so many great people, and there is this great mix of young and old, and everyone can get involved. I think that's a great part about the trotter. You probably, would it be fair to say, Bardo probably may have copped a little bit of criticism not having an individual trotting sale, but I think it brings to it, putting the trotters in there in an equal field, if you like, with the paces. Stand up, and we said there before, like Basilica, I think he was 160. At one stage, he was the highest price horse sold through your sale. So you have these sorts of horses in there. It justifies what you've been able to do, doesn't it?
Look, again, we draw out, I guess, your ideas from what you've learned. And in the performance horse market, 16 years ago, you'd never seen a stock horse or quarter horse sold in the same arena. And we said that we thought it was our performance horses. And, these are a standardbred racehorse. But, the fact there's two different gates, I think, is important. But I know what's happened 15 years on. Traditional stock horse people do buy quarter horse genetics, and traditional quarter horse people do buy stock horse genetics. And I've seen that already, where a couple of guys that have been hardened pacing people have said, do you like the type? The money's good. I'll chance my arm. I know, you mentioned earlier in your show about what's available in New South Wales. I think the return on investment for a trotter in New South Wales is actually pretty good odds at the moment. If you get a good one and you get a trainer who's patient, which I don't think any owner is very patient, it seems, but if you've got a patient owner, you can make a really nice horse out of these fellas.
Yeah, absolutely, and race for some good money. But also, I mean, you can, I'm just looking at a horse there, my personal jet. He was a horse, Chris Finozio. The horse had a duck to come out of the stalls at Menangle last year. I think he was only having his first start in the prelude that year and then into the final. But, the right trainers, as you say, they can get them through these good races and then continue progressing them through. So I think that's the exciting part. You must be pretty happy to see so many horses that did contest last year back again this year, mate.
Yeah, well, it's about longevity. I know we've gone in the performance horse game. We had our classic, which was these aged events, just like this classic. We've now come up with our graduate concept now, which is for those horses as long as they're still on your truck and going. And I think it's not just about winning these juvenile races. I think all of us long term are about the long term value of the horse. And I think it's great to see those horses that can come back as 2s and 3s, but I don't know, who knows what's around the corner. Do you have a Nutrien graduate though? But like a free for all one day, assuming things you got to shoot for the stars, I guess, Paul, don't you?
No, absolutely. I was just looking then. I didn't realise Prince of Rock actually ran 4th in the final last year, and Vicky Bloom, the filly who came out and ran second, looked the winner, actually ran last. But that's just terrific. So the Locomotive, Stevie G, my personal jet, Prince of Rock, and Vicky Bloom all partaked in the initial one, and then they're back here again this year. So I think that part is terrific. Friday night, Mark, going to be a big race meeting because we have the paces, and we will get onto the paces with On Loose Lines. I'll definitely have you back on the phone for a brief time anyway, plus with the fields out there. But you must be pretty excited and really looking forward to it.
Yeah, look, I certainly am, mate. I think that we're looking at just even, which is good, Harness Racing Victoria have asked us, look, have we got any ideas on how we want the race fields to, or how we want the program to look? And I said to them, look, these 3-year-old colts, the 3-year-old fillies particularly, there's a terrific fields, like they're well contested. And I said, look, I want to make sure they're promoted, to a highlight part of the program, so we do get a chance to really see them. And like you said, there's some fantastic paces as well. But on one, I think you mentioned the Lee family. You've got that Kiyang Stuka was also another one that you might not have mentioned before, but they've got a couple, and I know Mark's been, their family, they've been supporting us since we started, which is not that many years, but they've been great supporters, put a lot of horses off us, and it's great to see they've actually got 2 running around in the final.
Very true. I forgot that horse there, Kiyang Stuka, and he went terrific. He sat in the breeze, he sat parked, and did a really good job. Got beat 26 metres by some real blue bloods, and I think he'll be better for that run, that's for sure. One thing here, Mark Gurry has said then the return on investment for trotters in Queensland is fantastic as well, and he's 100% correct, and there is a reason for that, because the Sunshine Stars yearling sales are open. They close on August 31st. That is also for the trotters. Trotters they've got so much to look forward to there in Queensland, haven't they, Mark?
Yeah, look, and on that, they've got $25,000 individual sex races as well. So you buy a horse in Brisbane, they can race for $25,000 as a 2-year-old trotting filly and trotting colt. But if we don't get a field, they will combine those and make sure the $50,000's on offer as a mixed sex. But that's on top of the $62.5 and the $125,000 3-year-old money. So it's another benefit. And I guess back to the sponsors with Haras Trotters, mate, you've got horses available from their stallion stables in Queensland now, Victoria and New South Wales. So you can go to a Haras Trotter stallion in all 3 states.
Mark, the excitement level, I mean, yourself and Pat, you've been committed to this. It's been spoken about for a long time with this Haras Trotters Nutrien Classic race night. The excitement level for you?
Oh, mate, look, I wouldn't say there's not nerves, because you want it to be a certain way. You want everything to go off perfectly. I think what I felt, the 2 lots of heats the other day, I think one thing we talked about too, Paul, was we'd love to have sent them all in one lot of heats there last week, but Harness Racing Vic actually split them because they were actually worried about being oversubscribed for heats, so we wouldn't have been able to put them on one card. But when you get our whole program, that's pretty cool, mate, to have a 10-race program where 8 of those races are Nutrien races. Let's face it, mate, we would not have the prize pool we've got without Pat and Haras the Trotters, and that's a huge commitment to us right from the get-go. It's helped us build the catalogue of horses, and the Australian product, we need these genetics, not just what Yabby Dam Farms produces yearlings, but the stallions on offer. We need these quality horses in Australia, and I think we're lucky in a tough time economically the last 6 months that we've got these people that are still absolutely committed to producing great racehorses.
And also showcasing the world. I know Duncan McPherson's watching, and a few of the other places prepared to now take on the world and showcase them to the world. That would be awesome. Like if in a year's time or 2 years' time, one of those is a Nutrien horse, and you're sending me over there, Bardo, just to cover it. I think that would be just a great story. That would be.
Well, it'd be a great story if we could come to a financial arrangement on that, mate, I'm sure. Shoot for the stars, mate. You can't soar with eagles if you hang around with seagulls, mate.
Exactly right. Natalie Gaff has put a question in here, and it's I can't answer. I'll let you answer it though, Mark. But just wondering how there's a horse nominated for the Nutrien final who didn't contest the heats, and it's actually in the terms and conditions. Is that the best way to answer it, mate?
Yeah, look, our original terms and conditions were just that where a field wasn't full, that a paid-up horse could still, with preference to those that played the heats. That was always our original rule. We had a question that I asked of the racing authorities when we had 2 heats in Sydney that didn't actually stand up. How does that work? And the question was whether they became heats or preludes heat being that it would basically close the field, and that was the original advice we were given. That has been challenged, and based on our original rule, which there's a clause, I can't tell you the clause straight off the bat, but the clause basically says that where heats aren't full, a paid-up horse is eligible to still contest the final. So that was that we were given different advice the other day, which I communicated that on I reckon Saturday morning to all those people that had horses eligible for that this is now a new advice which reverts back to what the original pay-up was. When people originally paid up, it's exactly the same terms as the old APG terms, where a field wasn't full. You could actually, you could nominate a horse, but if there was a full field, which is the case, I reckon, in 3 or 4 of our 8 races, the field's already full. But in the case of a couple of these trotting finals, we didn't have full heats, and subject to that clause, we thought that because of Sydney being restricted, where 2 races didn't actually stand up on numbers, it may have made it a heat only, but they're actually, in fact, legally prelude. So we are obliged to allow those in as per our original terms.
And you mentioned there before about APG. Natalie, just so you're aware, it did actually happen in the APTS, which is, I don't know if that is APG. Duncan will text me and tell me one way or the other. But the APTS trotting heats just recently, and that was exactly what happened. That two horses, albeit they did nominate for the heat as it was, were both scratched under veterinary conditions. Both weren't right on the night, but they were then eligible to partake in the final, and it was exactly the same thing, Mark, that effectively once they went through and read the T's and C's, they realised that they were eligible for that race, as were any other horses. Not that anyone took that up, but on this occasion we've had 2 trotters come in, and I think a couple of pacers may have came in as well. Is that right, mate?
No paces that I can that I'm aware of. I think there's been a couple of trotters, but I've actually got that term there now. It's actually of our original race terms when people paid their sustaining. It says, should less than 12 horses except for the heats on a particular division, Nutrien will instead run the intended heat as a prelude with the Nutrien for the Nutrien Sales Series final. Prelude runners will require to be re-nominated should they wish to contest the final, and will have a preference in the field selection over any other horse that did not contest the prelude but will subsequently nominate for the final. So effectively, if it was oversubscribed, they would ballot those horses that didn't nominate and run in the heat. But again, like I say, the reason for the confusion was with those 2 heats not standing up in Sydney. We asked for advice on that, and they said, we believe they're closed, but that was then challenged, and we went for external advice, and that was the advice we were given. Now you must revert back to clause 6.7 in your original terms and conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is that field there. There was 6 trotters. It actually had me a bit confused because I thought there was 6. We've had 1 scratching out of the 2-year-old fillies, but in that place we've got the horse of muscle memory, Dean and Blanche, are there. So that horse went through the sales, is completely eligible. Whether it wasn't ready for Kilmore or what, but yep, it is actually eligible for here. And then the colt was Ewing, I think, and that was a 2-year-old colt as well. And look, it's one of those ones, I would imagine if you have a horse in it, Bardo, and there's only 5 in it, you think, oh, this is good, you get 1 more horse in it, but you got to realise this horse is having its first start in a $62,500 race, so that in itself, take some telling. We're not to know how good these horses are. They might be very good, they might not be bad, but you can only, I suppose, deal with what you've dealt with, and the fact that Natalie's horse is in there. And I know the horse that Natalie's concerned about, and I shouldn't say she's concerned about. The horse that she does have one in the field with is Beck Morrissey. Logs on there was Third Eye, which is of course bred by Haras the Trotters, but just an absolute bolted home the other day. So gets the right run in transit, Nat. I think you're going to be very, very hard to beat as well. So don't worry about that. You just need a little bit of luck, and you're not going to be too far away. It's a nice little horse, that horse by Volstead, out of the Bettor's Delight mare, whose name's escaped me, but I'm going to cheat, Bardo, and everyone's going to see that I can cheat from time to time. Roxy Maguire is who that horse is out of.
No, look, I guess it's ultimately, look, I'm the first to admit we're not experts in racing, the details in racing. I take a real strong view that we'll stay in our lane when it comes to this stuff. We'll rely on people that are actually educated in racing. I've learned a lot in 12 months, but I said that to you before, mate. After a year or two, you know a little bit, which makes you more dangerous than when you know nothing. So I guess I deliberately go to other people to give me that advice, mate.
No, absolutely, mate. And I really appreciate the time you're giving me. We've got Total Horse Channel. Good morning to you guys. So they're obviously somewhere else in the world, but good morning to those guys watching on YouTube. So good to see them. Bardo, thank you. You'll be back Wednesday night over the phone for On Loose Lines. We'll talk about the paces as well. We'll cover off on those. Don't forget, anyone watching this, it was got a yearling to sell. Entries close for the Nutrien sales August 31st, Mark.
Yeah, end of the month, August 31st. I reckon might be a Thursday from memory. But look, we're excited about what we've got starting to fill the program now. Like the online entries are starting to fill up, and look, I can see horses that are actually pretty well favoured in these finals. I know of at least two, one full sibling and one 3/4 sibling that we'll talk about next week. But they're there's some exciting horses coming through, mate. And I think in what's been a tough 6 months for breeders, and even, let's face it, in Victoria, what's been a tough period for owners and trainers, I think it's there's some wonderful horse flesh, and we want to showcase those over the next 6 months.
No, absolutely. Mate, thank you. Chat to you Wednesday.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Probably some chance I'll chat to you tomorrow. We seem to chat a lot lately when things are going on, but really do appreciate it, mate, and thank you very much.
Anytime.
And thanks for joining me on Talking Trotters.
Thanks, mate. Talk to you soon.
It's Mark Barton there. I'll just kill that. Hopefully he'll hang it up as he goes. So, big weekend coming up. I can't show you the fields. The fields will be on Loose Lines on Wednesday night. We'll showcase all those fields. But $62,500 for the 2-year-old colts and geldings and the fillies, and then $125,000 for the 3-year-old boys and 3-year-old girls. The richest individual purse for trotters in Australia, which is super exciting, and going to be a big night. Good to hear that the trotters won't be on their own and the pacers won't be on their own. They're all going to be mixed in together. So big night at Bendigo. August 11. I did see there before, Jeffrey Dixon said he hasn't been to the trots for zonks, but he is going to be there. So I look forward to catching up with you, Jeffrey. Of course, this is Talking Trotters, brought to you for What the Hill. It's a funny name. I don't know how I come up with the name, but Talking Trotters for What the Hill. And don't forget those stats that I read off there before. But a couple of horses taking out both divisions of the Governor's Cup. Roxana doing a huge job, and then of course Kianguchi going around in the Haras Trotters for the 2-year-old fillies, and getting along. Rightio, Hambletonian Day the other day, and I don't know how many people did or didn't. Need to change the hat. Didn't get to see the Hambletonian. I won't show it in its entirety, but what we will show is we'll actually highlight. I've got a couple of people on there watching. The tactical approach is the
and they're off and trotting in the Hambletonian point of
from
perfect.
barrier 10. I'll kill that audio. Sorry about that. From barrier 10 there, and he actually has a little look to go forward. Scott Zeron, but then concedes and goes back to last, and it's a magic drive. It really is a magic drive. I don't want to get into too much trouble for showing too much of it, but he's actually through the fence there as they turn for home. Oh well goes to the top for Timmy Tetrick, and I think Timmy thought he actually had the race won, and rightfully so. He keeps looking. He's got the inside horse beat, so he just keeps looking over his outside. He never stops driving it. He definitely didn't cost at the race when up your Dio kept coming along, but here you see tactical approach, get up the inside and get the chockies, and got the chockies very, very easy. So really, really good race. It's a brilliant carnival. It's a great race meeting to be a part of. I'm going to highlight some of the pacing races as well coming up. But so by Tactical Landing out of Sarcy, interesting name there. Nancy Tactor, that's her first win of the Hambletonian, and Scott Zeron, that's his third. He actually was in the commentator's box last year, so out with injury, wasn't sure if he was going to come back driving, and he did. They trotted 150 and 3, and terrific little race. Interestingly named Up Your Dio in third. There were some other good races on there. I should have had the Hambletonian Oaks. I'm not sure who it was. Did have, as I said, Duncan McPherson was on there. He was sending me a text message. It was cool to see that Mari's Times Foal is having its first start in the USA tomorrow morning if you're still online, Dunk, would love to know her name. Mel Thackeray was on there before as well. We might be able to just hopefully get her name out, and so people can see and can see that horse's name as well. So yeah, be cool. Anyway, we'll wait and see. There is always a lag. Anyone wondering what happens? There's always a little bit of a lag. Tell you what I'm going to do, because I have got this one worked out and it is going to play the game. We're going to go back and we're going to go through all the winners. Last of the winners actually at Kilmore. So we'll do this a little bit reverse, but Kilmore on the Thursday night. The last of the trotting winners was Buller Park Benno by changeover out of Jamaica. It's actually a pacing bred trotter for Terry Gange and Jacinta Allen Gange as well. James Herbertson, that's 2 from 2. Beating Stick Me Up and Kai Valley Helen. So well done to those guys, because Terry does a lot of the writing for the National Trot Guide. So sorry, not the National Trot Guide. I'm gonna be in trouble. You've got to be joking me. Harness. Anyway, it'll come. Someone will text it through to me. Harness Link. Too late. I got it sorted out. Righto, Trotting Tuesday, because we always do this show on a Monday and there's no trots on a Monday night as a rule. We'll go to the trotters now. I have not gone through any of these. So here we go again. I had Darren Ray on there before. I have got it there. I'll have to jump out of it and go a different way. Gate with Grace by My High Expectation at Nora Jones for Catherine McLean. She's had a win in the last 3 weeks. Narissa McMullen drove this horse. Northern Heights and I Can Do It for Chantel and Pete. Just see if this horse here, it didn't win last week. Yep, it's had 2 starts with 2 wins, so doing a terrific job. I think he's had 4 individual winners from 18 foals. Darren, if you're still watching, make sure those stats I just gave out are right. Gus, a horse that was previously trained down here by Majestic Sun out of Kelly Ray, Chantel Turbin and Peter McMullen, beat Global Flight and Calm Manor in the second of the trots there at Albion Park. And as always, the guys have got 3 trots on Get Used to It by Used to Me out of Commander Jewel, of course bred by Yabby Dam Farms. They had a winner against today as well, Haras to Trotters, but we will mention that as well. Supplementa and Natty Pagger, Trent Moffat coming in third. Jack Putler, we had him on before, he actually finished down the track. So yep, that's the run through very quickly of the trotters at Albion Park on Trotting Tuesday. I shouldn't say very quickly, I really do enjoy it. The guys in New South Wales, I've reached out to Club Menangle to get a little bit more insight into these races that were announced and the rest going on. No one's got back to me, so if I can get someone on probably next week, hopefully we'll try again. I'll keep trying, but yeah, just want to get it out there. Talking trotters, we don't try and reinvent the wheel here, we just try to promote the trotter. Kiang City for Ricky Alchin took out race 1 at Menangle. Aldebaran Yahtzee, and Dolly's Law in third. He's of course by Pegasus Spur. Pegasus Spur of course stood at Woodlands Stud. And then Valley Star by the Prez out of Malibek. Took out the other of the trot races there, beating Regency and Fox Trot Hill for Leon Jerd. He had 6 in that race, so he had a good strong hand in there. Not sure if that horse's name is generally speaking or not. Hopefully that is its name. I think Duncan may have logged out. Either that or he's not listening to me at all going forward. Righto, Shepparton on the Tuesday night. There is always a trot there at Shepparton, and it was the Aldebaran Park Benefits. Our members trot as handicap, won by Super Service. Cameron Maggs having a great run, and Tasman Potter doing a terrific job as well, young Tasman. Kai Valley Honey Bunny and Star Down Under for Peter Lindbergh and James Herbertson. Filled out the rest of those placings. There was 2, actually another one for the Aldebaran Park with Linda Grace for Donna Castles. Well done to you, Donna, beating Stacey Towers, another of the loyal ones with Focus, and Romantic Nina, Ray Cross and Liam Older filling in the places. Don't see Ray Cross travel to across there too often. No, it's not. It's the second time they've done it. I'm not going to get myself in the trouble, but the Haras to Trotters pace, yeah. Anyway, Haras to Trotters traditionally only sponsor trotting races, but the VHRC confusing me as best they can. Right, let's have a look at Hamilton. There is one trot there, won by Cork, John Murphy and Declan Murphy. Dec's doing a great job, winning a few races, especially with the trotters, beating Old Villa Boy and Ollie Jack for Courtney Slater and Lockie Cook. So all down that way. Kai Valley Surf Rider ran third, so fourth. Sorry, so for Katrina Fitzpatrick. There was no trots at Bendigo that night because that was the Nutrien Equine race series. Kilmore, they are going to start trots at Penrith, but they didn't start them this week. I think it's not till the end of this month that they are going to try those. We went to Mildura, which would not have had any trots, that's for sure. We're getting through them pretty quick this week because there's a few races, although we have covered off on the ones, of course, at Kilmore. There was 6 races there at Kilmore. Majestic Tooth by Majestic Sun out of Karaka Tooth. Got the chockies for Kate Gaff beating Mitchell Rapp. And 405, there was a horse in front that broke, Elderbaron Styles for Jeff Webster. Probably looked the winner, but Majestic Tooth got the chockies over that horse there. And just trying to find, there it is there, the Southern Cross Feeds trot. There is actually one other one there. Kai Valley Hotspur for Brett Lilly, and Chris Alford was a very impressive winner, beating Sir Eros a half head after leading and running along. Well, he didn't run along as actually hard as what I thought he was. I watched that race with no volume. And beating More Wanted Leanne for the Evergreen. Bob Cookenmeister came in fourth on that occasion. And then we had the maiden trot, Perfidious Sue for David Murphy, owned by Aaron Murphy. Oh, this was a horse by Captain Treacherous. It was a huge run the week before. Perfidious Sue beating Destira and Mari Duchess for Brent Lilly and Chris Alford. Destira started favourite now at his first 2 starts. He's getting closer. Big raw horse. Interestingly bred, that horse. By Bacardi Lindy at Meredith Castle. That's right. Got a big group of owners, but of course we're related back to La Cucaracha. So that is Geelong, and there will be no other trot races on that day, but we've got to get them out there hopefully at some stage. Tabcorp Menangle, they had the last race was a trot race there with Valley Star, of course the Prez. That's 2 races. That's actually the same horse, I reckon. Leon Jerd beating Royal Glenferrie for the Fitzpatricks, and Funky Monkey coming in third on that occasion. Phoebe Onyx running last there. And there's nothing else there for that one. We will go to Melton, where there was a couple of trots. We had 2 of them. There's some debate over whether this date is actually right, which was, I don't know if anyone else saw that on social media, but it should actually be 76 years of night trotting. I suppose it's right because it's 75 years of night trotting in Victoria 2022 Winter Trotters Cup. Problem is we're in the season 2023, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the name there. But what a run by Love Gun. I'm going to catch up with Greg probably tomorrow night at Bendigo. Beating Kai Valley Piero and Over and Out for Robert Evans, who did a terrific job. Love Gun, a horse with a good future though. He was terrific there. And then the other of the trot races was the last of those races, I'm pretty sure. There it is there. Race 9, the Sulky Up Winter Trotters Cup. The second of those is He's All Muscle for Emma Stewart and Mark Pitt, narrowly hanging on from Egret. Egret went enormous up the sprint line, really got home really hard. And Anywhere Hugo, Chris Finozio, young Ryan Sanderson took the right drive there. Gaelic Lad was a huge run. Auntie wouldn't have been very happy, but never happy when you draw a pole, when you gallop out, and then you know that's the last time you are going to draw the pole. No harness racing. Oh yes, it was Shepparton on Sunday night. And what trot races do we have? We had one. We had the Kevin Abrahams Memorial Trotters Handicap. This is a Kyabra meeting at Shepparton with Our Safari's son beaten by Safari out of Lady Albert, getting the chocolates off 40 metres, beating Tetra and Montana Muscles there. So Matthew Storer and Rebecca Bartley, I don't know how many trotters Maddie's trained over the journey, but yeah, it could be a good little story there. So never know. People watching, don't be scared to fire in more comments. If you like. And that looks like the last of the trotters there. Just quickly have a look at who won the Kai Cup. Tour of Alpha, Matty Painting and Mark Pitt. Well done to you guys. But this is a trotting show where we talk trotters. And there was one trot race today at Yarra Valley. We'll go there first, if you like. And that was taken out by Kiang Chucky, of course, bred by Haras the Trotters. I did say that, by Love You out of the Sun Goddess, beating Dichotomy and Antonov. So that's a good field, actually. There's a couple of in-form horses there. Dichotomy and Antonov winning races sequence as well for Kelvin Barker. Got a little bit of, or got more than a little bit of ability. So good trot race there today at Yarra Valley. So I don't know if there'll be too many more. Darren Clayton, hello to you, Daz. Mark Gary sent Will and Wilder up to Brisbane because it gives him a chance. Okay, what I'll do, just hang on one sec for me, Mark. We'll get onto yours in a sec. Just have a quick look if there was one. Nope, there wasn't one at Bankstown. There might have been a trot at Pinjarra. Might they have one? Yes, there was. Always amazes me this when they have the opportunity to promote them, but they give them a pacing stadium. But the Always Be Mickey Mobile Start Trot, Aldebaran Sundown for Nigel Jones took it out, beating Majestic Dream and Stay Focused. So well done to everyone who got the chockies in those trot races. Oh, hello. I might have missed one by the looks because we're going to go back to Friday night. So if this horse was sent to Mildura, to Albion Park, it must have been. There must have been a trot. It was too. Taken out by my high expectations. He's having a huge run up there. Dexter, this horse here, and we will get onto yours, Mark, in one sec, who ran second, but this horse here has now won his last three, 18th of July, 24th of July, now the 4th of August, and is actually a full. Nora Jones will actually bring this up very, very quickly. So I wonder what else she's had, this horse, Nora Jones. Grace, Gate with Grace, of course, won on the other day, and then Nora's Fling, 112 for 163 starts. Also, don't know a lot about, and $62,000 in prize money. But well done to the McLaughlins in Queensland. They're having a great run with this horse. Sorry, I actually don't need to, but Whirlwind Wilbur. There for Mark Gary has run second, and he was enticed more by the prize money. So formerly trained as always by Johnny Justice. It's had now 2 starts in Queensland for a 6th and then a close second last start. So getting closer and closer. Yet to win a race by Majestic Sun out of Joyce's Choice. Joyce's Choice. Now I've got a bad feeling. I apologise when I do this, but no, I reckon I'm wrong unless it's her. Just bear with me. I think there's a nice horse here. So we got a Thunder. Gentle Image. There you are. 21 starts. Mel's Image. She's an Image. So the first start of the horse that gets in on Friday night. There's a little segue for you. It might be a little bet for you, Mark. She's an Image is closely related to this family. $230,000 in stakes, and of course she's actually got the Ewing having its first start in the Nutrien Equine. Haras the Trotters Classic. Joyce's Image, I think, is the horse that I had. That's the reason why I know this family. There was one of these horses I did have out of this family. No, I know. Fossil Light was the one because it was by Sundon. And I digress, but we will get to you in 1 second, Mark. I'm just going to quick look. A Pretty Penny. Right, so there you are. Right, we'll get off that screen, get back to this one, and need to get this remote, thing. Rightio. Sent, we might have to go this way because otherwise my head's going to be on the side for a lot. Sent Whirlwind Wilbur up to Brisbane because it gave him more chance of earning a few with fewer horses. Send him to Sean Gillespie who trained Casanov for me. Sean is an awesome trotting trainer. We almost stole the Interdominion with Casanov, second to Sundon's Gift horse we've spoken about as well tonight. Can't speak highly enough for Sean. If somebody wants to send a trotter to Queensland, he's also has Majestic Lavros for me being aimed at the Queensland Interdominion, which is in later this year, along with Mafaso Metro. So he's up there as well. Mark, is Mafaso Metro gone up there as well? So he's an exciting horse. And then also he did run second on Friday night, so I do appreciate that. I'll see if Mark can get a couple of those other ones to me. It actually half looked like that was hidden, but it's not. I don't think it is. Don't know why they do that from time to time, but there's definitely nothing wrong with that one. So Mafaso Metro, he's a huge acquisition to the Queensland racing up there. Darren Clayton, you should be pretty excited about that if he is up there as well. Mark Lee, hello to you. Winner of the Barrostock Dash. Mark Lee is. So big week in trotting. It's been a big week in trotting as well, of course, with the running of the Hambletonian in North America. Try and get a bit of North American content back into this series if we can going forward. So there is plenty happening there. Not sure. Oh, don't want that one. Wasn't sure. I saw a tile there and I was like, Mafaso Metro is still with John, but heading up to Queensland. So, yeah, exciting horse. Winner of the home field. His first start over here, bred by the Kirkwoods. So, yeah, Cameron Kirkwood does a lot of stuff with me as far as from the New Zealand point of view, and his father, I believe, may have bred that horse. So, big week in trotting with plenty of races coming up. Let's see if they do have indeed, the guys in Queensland, they've got a faster class free-for-all on with most of the horses that went around just recently. So good field of trotters going around the last race. Need to get the guys up there to take them off the last race and let people enjoy them earlier on. Put them on as the first race so people can fall in love with them. And let's see, very quickly, they have got only the 2 trotters races this week. Gate with Grace is going around again. Melissa Giles has got 2 in there, and Northern Heights, is it another? There's 2, My High Expectations as well. So this horse goes very, very good. So My High Expectations is getting a great run up there, and then a very, very big field of trotters going around with a 30 to 55 rated race as well, going up there. Chantel and Pete haven't been winning too many races going forward from me there. And then, of course, the 2 races again at Menangle this week. Again, those first 2 trot races. So plenty of options there to watch trotters. Only the 4 races. Bendigo tomorrow night. How many trot races we got Bendigo tomorrow night? I could call this show quits, but people are still watching. People are still timing. There is 1, 2, 3. The opening 3 races are for the trotters. With a 2-year-old race. I had Chris Engove on there before, so we got Link in Bio, that was a good run there before. Ned's the Thriller, Dora Lee, Majestic Law, Majestic Avenue, Courage Law, Link in Bio, and Star of Patrick, all going around. That's at 6 o'clock. Early start to Bendigo tomorrow night. I'm actually going to sneak my way out there, so I better get up a bit earlier and get all my work done. But yeah, good card of trotters. And then there's another 2 trots as well going on. There's a 52 or better. And the last race is a big trot as well. That's an up to 42. Bone of contention for mine. Anyway, this has been Talking Trotters for What the Hill. Thank you very much to the guys over there. As I said, his weekly stats, he won both divisions of the Governor's Cup at Scotia Downs for the 3-year-olds at $75,000. Jet Hill, his 6th win for the season from 7 starts in 54 and 1, and then John Dutton in 55 took out both of those. Roxanna took out the $55,000. Ohio Fair's trot for the 2-year-old fillies in the USA. He's actually currently 9th on the all-age trotters list. Our oldest are only 4-year-olds, 7th in the 3-year-olds, and 5th in the 2-year-olds. Leading 3-year-old sire in New Zealand, and then of course Kianguchi going around on Friday night at Bendigo, where all roads lead to the Haras Trotteurs Nutrien Equine Stakes with the 3-year-olds for $125,000. That's a wrap for this week's Talking Trotters show. Thank you very, very much. I'm actually going to throw to the Hambletonian. I'll put the audio out on that. You can watch the Hambletonian in its entirety at the end of it. And I'll be back next Monday night for the Talking Trotters for What the Hill. We'll probably have some of the catch-ups with some of the connections on Moose Lines live from 6 o'clock. Plenty to cover off on this week with announcements last week. Plus we've got all the Nutrien races to highlight and plenty others happening as well. Might even have a little bit of a quirky one. I might have a think about it tomorrow and bring in a quirky one for people to get involved in. But I'm going to throw out with the tactical approach, taking out the Hambletonian in its entirety. And I will see you guys next week for Talking Trotters for What the Hill.
And they're off and trotting in the Hambletonian. Point of Perfect shoots out with early speed and zips right to the top here. Celebrity Bambino from the inside, getting away well with Up Your Dale put in place second. So Celebrity Bambino third early. Oh Well gets away in fourth position. Winner's Bet is parked on the outside fifth. Osceola sixth on the inside. Then it's Southwind Coors, followed by Ghostly Casper on the outside. Then French Wine and Tactical Approach at the opening quarter. Point of Perfect, and on the outside brushing up Celebrity Bambino. Stablemate won at the opening quarter in 27-4, so it is the one. Celebrity Bambino at 5-2, setting up shop with Yannick Gingras, leading it by a length and a half. Point of Perfect second. Burke is 1-2 at this point. Up Your Deo third on the inside. Oh Well looking poised to make a move to the outside, and there he goes. Winner's Bet will pick up his cover second over fifth past the half. Then it's Tactical Approach saving ground. Osceola is into a third overflow to the outside. Then Southwind Coors and French Wine and Ghostly Casper. The half was 56 seconds. So Celebrity Bambino taking on some heavy pressure from Oh Well on the outside up to Say Hello. Those two stride for stride. And Winner's Bet sets it up from second over. He's third on the outside as they head by 3/4. And looking for racing room now is Point of Perfect, locked in the box. As Up Your Day was third over and fanning to the outside. Osceola went off. Strad and they turn home in the Hambletonian. 1:23-1. 27-1, third quarter speed, and it's Oh Well. Oh Well's under heavy urging though. Oh Well, Up Your Dale towers up late on the outside. Oh Well, and on the inside, shooting through late. Tactical Approach is coming on. Tactical Approach from post 10. The money man with the huge upset in the Hambletonian. Tactical Approach rode the rail to win it over Oh Well, Up Your Dale, and Celebrity Bambino in 1:50-3.
Yes, Mickey, with less than a 16th to go. What the Hill, a short lead. Lindy the Great to the inside. Yes, Mickey, coming to the wire. It's What the Hill, and David Miller winning the
pocket sitter. Turned first over attacker What the Hill. In behind them, Dover Dan from in third. International Money still got work to do. They're in deep stretch, and here comes What the Hill. And Miller on the outside. What the Hill converting off the pocket trip to win the Canadian Trotting Classic. He won it by 3 going away. It's What the Hill.
Third, 3/4, 1:24-2 into the stretch. Looks like a Chippendale appears to be on the verge. Crazy Wild trying to fend him off. Room at the rail for What the Hill. He's raging late. And in heavy traffic is Pinkman on the far outside. Dason trying to close in. But off the rail comes What the Hill, the 3-year-old. What the Hill to seal his division. What the Hill. Then Dason. And then it was Pinkman third. And
Yes, Mickey, with less than a 16th to go. What the Hill, a short lead. Lindy the Great to the inside. Yes, Mickey, coming to the wire. It's What the Hill, and David Miller winning the
pocket sitter.